Will the autofocus work this time? Hey, look at that. Look at that. You just have to complain about it. It likes to. So there's a lot of question about the shielded wire stuff. And I would say do not cut. I would never cut. Personally, I would not cut. But if you apply common sense, you can kind of figure it out. It's not terribly difficult. Number one is there is one of these. There's one of these right there for your drive-by wire stuff. It's no big deal, and you just download it and follow the pinouts just like you would on here. So like on this, maybe you're doing like the I don't know, the oxygen sensor or something. Just follow the pinouts. They'll tell you what to do. And here, like, what is the shielded wire? What is the shield? So usually there'll be like some tin foil or something kind of wrapped around everything, like a burrito. There's that insulation in there, and then there'll be this wire sometimes. Sometimes it's a stainless steel wire, sometimes it's a copper wire. There's just a random wire sticking out. This one is covered, which is has an insulating wraparound, which is kind of unusual. Usually I don't see that, but anyway, it's no big deal. That is just connected to obviously this ground guy. But what I do is when I pull it out of the pin, so here we have to repin this whole thing to make all this work and make it all so we don't have 20 extra feet of wire. These guys right here have numbers on the back of them. I don't know, probably won't see it. This camera, sometimes it's miserable with its focus abilities and whatnot. Obviously not, but anyway, if you can imagine, that little nub right there is a number that's actually, it says amp, but on either side it says 25 and it says 21 and there's 36. So as I pull them out, I just put the number on it. Then I know when I'm putting the new wire, I can just hold this next to me and stick it in the hole. It's not terribly difficult, and they just have a lock. So you push that lock and then they just pop out, pop in, make sure they're fully seated, and relock it. So that is how that works out there. All right, so I got this guy. I took and loomed it. You guys see that? I heat shrunk it, and on the little guy there, I typed in what it is, printed it out, did some clear. So that's like 1/2 inch clear, 1/2 inch black. This is 1/4 inch expanded loom. I'll show you the difference real quick and what this is. So that's expanded loom, and yeah, I probably should have went up to 3/8. It's a little bit tight on that guy, but it doesn't really matter. No one's going to see it, but if they do, it'll look nice and professional, right? So it doesn't just be like a what. But you don't have to do any of this. You can just stick it out there if you want to. No big deal. But you should protect and secure your wires. Protect them with a little bit of sheathing and secure them so they don't get chafed, right? So there's a couple different types of loom. There's this stuff, which is called split loom, and it is basically it's split, right? So you can open this up and lay the wire in it, which is nice, and you want to use that. I like to use this in like areas where I think that I'll probably be redoing stuff, or maybe adding sensors, taking the big areas to conjunctions where it's really likely that you're going to be adding stuff, etc. And then there is, and that stuff's kind of pricey, right? Because it's thicker, it takes more material, yada, yada, yada. And then there's this stuff. This is that stuff that I used on it, that 1/4 inch. And this is like Chinese finger cuffs, right? This is a one shot and get it done thing. And then just some that we sell, all this stuff we sell on the website. I'm not trying to beat you to death with a website, but a lot of the stuff is like, if you don't have the tools, you don't know what you need, you don't know how to work. Just lost my favorite heat gun. That hurt my soul. But we have this guy, which is a warm gun, which is fine because what it does is it keeps you from accidentally melting through your nylon stuff when you're doing that. Yeah, so not a horrible thing, but I miss the power of getting it done. We got to go on the inside and pin all that. But I just want to, as we're going along, I want to show you some of these tools that we use. Get a nice pair of clippers. I got these fancy boys that kick that you hit your pinky on, and you feel fancy as heck when you're using these guys. Some other things we got depinners, we got wire strippers. Let me just show you what we got here on the floor. So we got wire strippers, which are these guys. I like these because these are super fast, but then the insulation sticks in there. You got knock it out. But, you know, there's those other ones that have like slotted for different gauges. Everybody knows what those are. It's pretty classic stuff. We got depenning tools, so we can depen things. Crimpers, lots of crimpers. These are my Deutsch connector guys. These are Deutsch connectors. These make making connections really simple. So if you're in there thinking to yourself, I got to use spades and butt connectors. No, you don't have to do that. It's 2025. You don't have to do that. You can use fancy connectors and stuff, and it's all, like I said, available on the website. Usually all of our stuff has a video showing what it is and how to use it, as do all the connectors. So if any of these connectors, like, hey, I'm putting in this, I don't know, the injector guy. How do I pen this, depen this, crimp it, etc.? There's probably a video on our website that has that for each one of these connectors that we sell. At least that's the goal. If it's missing, let us know. But you should know about some of this stuff, because half of the problem I learned when I finally got into wiring and doing this is that I just didn't know what I didn't know. And there was so many tools that if you don't have them, you don't know how to use them, you don't know they exist in your life, you just have to, you're doing workarounds that are silly. Yeah, so those are some of the tools. All right, so what I got here is the 5-volt and the sensor ground for, let's see, what we got, the map, the oil, and this is the sensor ground for the coolant temperature sensor guy that's on there. So that way it's all ran just one wire, well, 2 wires, but all nice and neat. And we'll do this for both sides, and that way we'll just have everything, you know, running simple. Now all we got to do is feed these guys to the connectors for the appropriate sensor. I think that all makes sense. A lot of things going on at old Duder's mind. All right, I started out and I thought, well, I'll just start at the back, and while I'm back here, I'll start with this oil pressure sensor. And then I thought about it for a second, and I said, well, I got to run a ground and a 5-volt. And I said, well, if I got to run that through the firewall, I might as well get it all split in one spot so we have less crap kind of going on. I think that makes sense. That should hopefully make sense in everybody's mind. So, put that guy through to right here. All right, so now this guy, just one wire through the, well, 2 wires to the firewall, but here we have our wire for our oil pressure, our map sensor wires over here, and then our sensor ground for our coolant temperature sensor, all in one little thing, nice and tidy. Now I just got to go in and kind of feed the loom and the signal wires back into these guys. When you blue, say hello, all the friends that I... Yeah, I think that's all. Just need a little tappy tap. Sometimes they just need a little tappy tap, you know? You got it, you're looking at it, and you're like, this guy could just use a little tappy tap. Let's try that, see if that works. Okay, so we need a, okay, I think I got it. Yep, right, yep. Now, we're still hitting click, okay. Next to that is our orange hit. Okay, which way do you go? Which way? You go that way. And we'll go clicky click, right? I don't got a click over here, something's wrong. Abort, abort, let's flip it over. I think you're 180 degrees out. I should have put some clear on there, and then I could have put the clear over the label. So lesson learned. Luckily, no one's going to see this because it's behind the engine. Not that it really matters all that much, but yeah, we'll remember to do that on the rest of them since we made the mistake here. I guess that's a benefit, starting in the back. All right, look at that. You got a sensor that plugs in, click, and yeah, well, that's not bad. That's not the worst thing ever. Okay, now we need to make one that goes to the map sensor. All right, catch you guys up. I've been all day at this. Kind of tedious, just trying to make everything look nice and sort through it, make it all make sense. So I went down the engines on both sides, done all the little sensors. I said all, I've done a few. So we've done the exciter wire down there, and the coolant temperature sensor wire, and it goes up through there, and then over here obviously we have the throttle position sensor all going back to the firewall there. For the cable for the heavy gauge stuff on the alternator, I think I'm just going to run it right over to the body, run it around and over to the positive post. There will be the shortest route, and make it so there's just a little, piece that has a bit of movement in it. Although this engine doesn't really those are pretty solid mounts down there, but if it does move, then it's not moving much, and it's not laying all over the engine, the hot engine. I like that idea the best, so that's what I'm going to do. On this side, in the back, we got the oil pressure done and the map sensor obviously right there. I have the wire ran for, can't see it, where's that? There it is. That wire ran right there, going there for the cam signal, and our crank, etc. So this guy's pretty much done. It's going to be time to do the injectors and the coils next. That's pretty easy. I have this all separated out, so that way I'll probably cut that off back a little bit, loom it, same thing you see, do the same with the coils. So that's what we've been up to. I've loomed those guys, you see, so it kind of runs out and then splits. I got the like a tree thing going on. I have the clear in place and the shrink on both sides. So once I get it all pinned in and I'm happy, I can go ahead and put the shrink it, put the labels on, and put the clear over the labels, so it looks kind of uniform-ish. And yeah, I just wanted to show you that's where we're at. So it was from the spaghetti top mess kind of thing to here, and now we're just going to follow the pins and shove them in the thing. So everything's done for the center section. So in retrospect, it's always going to go like this. You're always going to look at. So I look at the people that do like all the silly. I don't think it's silly. I mean, it's probably cool. Just seems very time consuming with the twists and the shrink tube, the whole harness. I'm like, that's a high level of commitment there. But here I probably should have. I'm getting ready to finish these off. You guys see how that works, right? We're just gonna basically clip that once we figure out like, hey, this is about perfect, which I think that should be pretty close, and put all the pins in, and I'll have a new connector, and I'll just look at this and I'll put them in there, and we'll just plug the new connector in and throw that in our box of weight savings. Look at this, weight savings. I won't figure how many pounds I saved. And the same goes all the way around, right? So we have everything there. Like I was saying, I wish I would have loomed, maybe did a better job of laying this out and maybe making one run and then breaking it out as it went down the line. But not bad, and I can still go back with the split loom and do that if we want to. But that's where we're at right now. I'm getting ready to put all the pins in these wires and then stick them in their connector. And then on the coils, you'll have one guy. You have 6 wires coming in. You have a 7-pin connector. The black will need to go to your ground. So we'll make a fancy little wire for that, and that'll make it all look complete, and hopefully it'll look, well, for sure it'll look better thought out than what it was, and then we can move on to other stuff. All right, everybody, to catch you up, we had one of these. This is a stock 24X Holley harness, right? So that's what you get in the box, although it's all wrapped up and loomed. This is just this guy right here. So that's the cheat sheet. And it didn't fit because they never fit, right? So we've been working it, all of our wires and whatnot. So when we get finished, it will sit nicely in our glove box where it's going to live, and all this will be all loomed up, etc. So, of course, I'm rambling here, so I'm just, for brevity's sake, coming in. So what I have coming back through the firewall is I have 5 volt, I have sensor ground, and I have 12 volt, basically. So all those things that we're going to feed, we have all the signal wires already out there. They never left the loom. So we're just feeding back the things that they need to live, and I'm explaining that here. So basically, if it comes back through the firewall, if it's green, it's going to be 12 volt. If it's orange, it's going to be 5 volt. If it's like that orange black twist, then the black is the sensor ground, or if it's black and white, it's sensor ground. But I think I sent it all back to that right there, that orange and black twist wire, and just made it simple, so we don't have a bunch of stuff running through, just the bare minimum, kind of passing back and forth through the firewall, all going kind of where they need to be in the vehicle. All right, and here is the engine bay. We've got, so far, like I said, we got the inside, the engine, basically. I have stuff that lives on this firewall and that firewall, and the engine cooling stack. But right now we have everything on this guy pretty much wired up. So we have our exciter wire, the coolant temperature, our coils, the injectors are back there, throttle body, map sensors, etc. Oil pressure. We used a Deutsch connector for this guy because it's like super fast and easy. So after crimping all these coils, I was like, these Deutsch connectors are nice. So now I have to basically keep doing what we're doing. We got the air temp and our oil pressure, our flex fuel. Here's the leads, here's the sensor for that. This is the N for our wheel speed sensor, and oil pressure or fuel pressure, etc. So we're just going down that one wire at a time. Like I always just do it one wire at a time. You can get through it, guys. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do next because it doesn't matter. I'll turn on the camera and come back.